recording. It's being recorded from now on, and so welcome everyone. And I'm really, really happy that we are all together here. And this webinar has been prepared by the Weekly Fasting Group, which is a very big WhatsApp group of individuals who practice fasting once a week for at least 24 hours. That's the common denominator of all the members of the group. Other than that, we have different people, different lifestyles, different dietary choice. There is no other agendas here. And almost every week we invite an interesting person, an influential speaker to share their wisdom with us. So if those ideas appeal to you, you will find my WhatsApp number below this video. My name is Arik, and you can just send me your name by WhatsApp and your request to join the group, and I will happily add you. It's completely free and it will always be free. So and today we have with us Mireya Machi, right? That's how you pronounce your name?
Mireya.
Mireya Machi, yeah. And she's currently coming from Chile. And so she will introduce herself because, you know, I don't know much about her. I know that she's an award-winning poetess and that she's a prolific writer and that she's kind of a fighter for social change, and she's a researcher into different alternative lifestyle. But other than that, she will present herself. So Maurice, would you please translate it to her, this brief introduction, and then we will ask her to talk about herself.
Great. Entonces, Mireya, ¿te puedes introducir al grupo?
Sí, yo soy una editora, poeta, escritora, practicante de ayuno desde hace 4 años y soy española, pero vivo en Chile. Y bueno, siempre me ha gustado salir de mi zona de confort, así que aquí estoy probando cosas nuevas.
So she is an editor, a poet, a faster, and she likes to get out of her comfort zone. So this is one of the reasons why she's doing this today.
Excellent. So I just wanted to really for you to ask her to present herself, to tell us briefly a little bit about her background and what she has been doing, you know, in life. And after that, we will delve into what happened, you know, during the so-called pandemic, and you know, and her books and everything.
Entonces, cuéntanos un poco cómo un poco de ti y cómo has llegado hasta este punto.
Bueno,
entramos
mira,
cortos.
Ya, hablemos algo sobre mí. Dejé España porque llevaba una vida bastante gris. Trabajé 15 años en la ferretería familiar de un pueblo pequeño. En Chile, el universo me fue llevando a una vida fuera del sistema.
So I left Spain after working in the family business for 15 years. It was a great period in my life. And once I got to Chile, it started opening the travel and being in Chile, opening my life up.
Gané algunos concursos poéticos y conocí el mundo editorial, aprendí a vivir cuidando casas y haciendo dedo, viajando a dedo, y así no tuve que entrar en el sistema.
So, and in Chile, I started winning contests, and I had to travel hitchhiking or auto stop, as you call it, and learning a lot about self-sustenance that way through that lifestyle.
eso me dio mucha libertad y tiempo para investigar y expandir mi conciencia.
And so this has given me an ability it gave me time, and that time gave me the ability to open my knowledge and learn about myself.
Y un poco esa personalidad libre es la que
Just a
me
moment.
llevó al ayuno.
Maurice,
y a
there
publicar
are some
este
noises
tipo
in the
de
background.
libros.
So sorry, Mireya. Mireya, there are some noises in the background. Probably it's from Maurice's side. Maurice, maybe you could just put her volume a little bit down, so because we can hear some noises while she's speaking.
Was it like a clicking on my keyboard, or?
It was kind of as if she was speaking and it was coming from your side or something like that. But now I think now it's fine. Let's try again. Yes, Mireya, sorry.
Nada, que esa personalidad libre es la que me llevó al ayuno, a practicar el ayuno y a publicar este tipo de libros más disidentes.
So this freedom that I found gave me got me started in fasting and into publishing.
¿Es suficiente?
Is that enough?
Okay, and then what happened next? I heard you won several prizes for your poetry.
Y ganaste muchos premios por tu poesía, y después, ¿qué pasó?
Que publiqué mis libros gracias a esos premios y por ahí me pude sostener como poeta.
So basically, by winning those contests, she was able to start publishing books, and with the books, she was able basically became a livelihood for her and to continue with poetry.
Okay, and then I wanted to ask, when did you feel the first time that something was wrong with this system, with this official system of information, of mass media, of governments? Like, what was her first point of awakening in this realm?
Entonces, ¿cuándo fue que despertaste de que hay algo malo con el sistema y con la prensa y el mundo, y te diste cuenta que estabas fuera del sistema?
Hace bastantes años. Yo creo que fue cuando llegué a Chile hace 10 años, porque salí del sistema que me tenía cegada.
So she thinks this happened when she got to Chile and she got away from the system that had her blinded. So about 10 years ago.
En Chile comprobé por mis propios medios que se podía vivir y muy bien y muy feliz sin todas las estructuras y las obligaciones que nos imponían.
So by her own experience in Chile, she learned that she could survive without all the systems and structures that were in place.
Y como tuve tiempo para investigar por primera vez en mi vida, me fui enterando del periodismo independiente y ahí fui conociendo la verdad.
And through my own research, I was able to realize that there is independent press, and found that press helped me wake.
Very interesting. Now, could you please ask her if it was the same time when she became interested in different spiritual matters and also in a kind of other food choices that are not kind of standard food choices, or it was later on?
So was it then that you, perdón, cuando fue entonces que te diste cuenta que hay distintas espiritualidades y distintos sistemas de distintos tipos de comida y empezaste a cambiar eso?
Sí, entendí, bueno, a ver, en Chile tuve acceso a canalizaciones, por ejemplo, de Crayon. Eso me abrió todo un mundo distinto en el tema de la espiritualidad.
So she had the opportunity to experience channeling and for example, Cryon, and through that, she realized different things.
Bueno, y no, fui católica en mi juventud, pero a los 20 años comprendí que era una jaula demasiado pequeña para mí.
So as when I was young, I was Catholic, and when I was 20, I realized this was too structured, too small of a cage for my ways, my beliefs.
And what about dietary choices and fasting? Was it the same time, more or less, when she started doing that, or it was later?
Con respecto a las dietas y comidas, entonces, ¿fue eso cambió también al mismo tiempo o más tarde?
Más tarde, porque más o menos hace 7 años descubrí a Víctor Trubiano y Gastón Bacchiani. Me llegó esa información y me interesó mucho a nivel teórico y pasé como 3 años incorporando esa información a nivel teórico, desprogramándome.
So at over 7 years ago, I started learning about fasting, and I started incorporating the concepts, and it wasn't until about four years ago, and after meeting Marcus, that she started actual fasting. The concept came together, and I was able to incorporate it in my life.
A nivel teórico, a nivel práctico, lo incorporé cuando conocí a Marcus hace 4 años.
Sí, eso lo incorporé recién.
Ya.
Oh, okay. So, and then I wanted to ask her, so when she started realizing that something was wrong with this system, with the controlling of the people, has she started acting right away on certain channels in order to promote those ideas and to awaken people, or it happened just during the so-called pandemic?
Entonces, a medida que te fuiste dando cuenta que el sistema estaba mal, ¿cuándo empezaste a influenciar a otras personas? ¿Eso lo hiciste antes o cuando empezó la pandemia?
Mira, a ver, lo hice antes desde otra temática, la temática de la violencia de pareja, donde yo tuve una mala experiencia y escribí sobre ello, pero me di cuenta que el enfoque oficial estaba equivocado y yo siempre difundí un enfoque alternativo.
So before, earlier, she was sharing information with the public and informing the public about other topics. And earlier on, she wrote a book and about domestic violence based on her experience. This information, her approach and her beliefs on this were outside of the mainstream system, but she published this and has voiced this publicly to help others.
Mi visión siempre fue muy diferente a la oficial en muchos temas. Por lo tanto, para mí fue natural estar en oposición a las normativas del establishment.
En general, ella ha tenido, so her beliefs in general have, she's found that her beliefs typically were early on were outside of the system and media, mainstream media, on a number of topics. So it was easy for her to take on the fasting and other beliefs that extend those and share those with other people.
Hace aproximadamente 7 años abrí un grupo en Facebook que se llama Disidencia Humana y ya empecé a difundir contenidos disidentes.
So even as far back as 7 years ago, she created a Facebook group called Human Dissidents, and that group broached all those topics.
Mm-hmm. But then I wanted to ask, what made her finally to become more active in this field of promoting all those new ideas? What pushed her into, for example, contacting all those people, collecting articles, publishing the books, etc.?
Entonces, ¿qué fue lo que al último te influenció para juntar todos, entrevistar a todos estos autores y juntar toda esta información?
El detonante fue la pandemia, la censura que se aplicó en pandemia. Como yo estaba acostumbrada a informarme por fuentes alternativas, me indignó mucho que fueran censuradas.
So what triggered this was during the pandemic, the level of censorship really bothered her, and because she used alternative media for a lot of her research, and when that became censored over the pandemic, that's when she took it upon herself to gather this information.
Y como yo ya tenía una editorial, sentí que estaba llamada a entregar un soporte sin censura a todas esas voces censuradas.
And since I have the publishing house, I was able to give these people a voice, all these censored people, a platform to convey their information.
Mm-hmm. Wow, well done. You can tell her that I admire her for that.
Dice que muy bien, que te admira por eso.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we are going to get back to the content of her book and all those amazing materials and peoples that she met. But let's get to something that is relevant to many people in this group, and that is fasting. Now, Mireya said that she had been practiced, or that she has been practiced intermittent fasting for quite a while. Now, could you ask her how long has she been practicing intermittent fasting on a daily basis?
vamos a hablar de fasting. Entonces, quiere saber desde cuándo has practicado diariamente el intermittent fasting.
Diariamente he practicado el ayuno desde hace más o menos 2 años. No constante, he variado un poco los horarios, pero hace ya como unos meses que practico el ayuno intermitente largo.
So she's been practicing the intermittent fasting for the last 2 years in varying degrees of schedule, and only recently in the past 2 months she has done a very specific schedule.
Like what? Could you ask her what this schedule is?
¿En qué horario lo estás haciendo ahora?
24.
So 20 hours and fasting and 4 hours of eating window.
So how does she feel doing this kind of regimen?
¿Y cómo te sientes con ese horario?
Bien, perfectamente. Ya no tengo hambre.
She perfectly, no hunger at all.
Wow. Okay. So now, did this decision to do this kind of intermittent fasting, 20 hours fasting and 4 hours of eating window, did it come as a result of her conversations with Marcus Witte?
Entonces, si acaso esto último que empezaste fue a resultado de tu conversación con Marcus.
Sí, de todas maneras. Con Marcus aprendí muchas cosas. Que no es necesario dejar de comer, sino descubrir que no lo necesito.
So she learned many things from Marcus, and one of them was that she doesn't have to stop eating as much as she learned that she doesn't have a need to eat.
Y que comemos por programación, adicción y apegos emocionales.
And that we eat because of programming, addiction, and emotional desires.
Entonces me ayudó a observar eso y a practicarlo como una actividad para mi crecimiento personal.
And so he helped me understand that she can do this for personal growth, as more of an initiative of personal growth.
And has she got any other practical advice, for example, for people who also want to apply it in their lives, something she got from Marcus that might help?
Related to fasting or?
Related to fasting and to abstinence from food. It might be either some kind of techniques or some kind of realizations in addition to what she has just said.
Y hay algo más que pueda ayudar a la audiencia con respecto al ayuno, de lo que has aprendido. Por ejemplo, alguna técnica o algo que les sirva.
Aparte del ayuno intermitente y la autoobservación, recomiendo los retiros de no hacer nada. Eso es muy importante.
So there are 2 things. One is just self-observation, and the other is going on a trip or an event where you set out to do nothing. So a nothing trip.
Okay, so could she expand about that? How she understands self-observation, and the second principle that she mentioned?
¿Puedes explicar un poco mejor, un poco más de la autoobservación y de estos retiros de no hacer nada?
Sí, los retiros de no hacer consiste básicamente en alejarse de las distracciones cotidianas, como el Internet o las expectativas de todo el mundo.
So in this these trips, I get away from everything, getting away from distractions and civilization and other cell phone, internet, turning that off. That's what she means by that nothing, doing nothing.
So she actually goes to a certain place where she can find herself just without any distractions. That's what she means?
¿Y acaso te vas a alguna parte donde te alejas de las distracciones? ¿Dónde vas?
Sí, voy en mi carpa a la naturaleza junto a un río, en un lugar muy apartado.
And she will travel to a remote area in nature, for example, next to a river, goes camping and away from everything.
Mm. So how often does she do that with her lifestyle?
¿Qué tan seguido haces eso? ¿Qué tan frecuentemente?
De momento, solo una vez al año. Así que lo he hecho 2 veces, pero lo voy a hacer de nuevo en enero.
So once a year, she's done this twice, and she's going to do it again in January.
Mm-hmm. So does she feel that those trips help her maintain her regimen of intermittent fasting?
Si acaso encuentras que estos viajes te ayudan a mantener tu ayuno.
Son insuficientes porque el resto del año tengo muchas tentaciones, pero me permiten volver a mi centro y recordarme mis propósitos.
It's not enough, but it does help her get centered because during the rest of the year, there are a lot of temptations and distractions, but it does help.
Okay. And how does she understand the principle of self-observation and how it relates to abstinence from food?
¿Y cómo es la autoobservación? ¿Cómo es ese principio y cómo te ayuda con el ayuno?
La autoobservación la hago normalmente en la naturaleza y, bueno, en todo tipo de ámbitos, porque observo señales del universo que me recuerdan que mi ser no necesita nada.
Mm-hmm.
So in her observation, it can be in nature or it can be anywhere. She listens to the universe and that she's reminded that she doesn't really need anything by being in observation.
Observo esas señales por medio de personas que encuentro que me dan alguna frase o algún consejo que encuentro que viene de la fuente y también con la numerología que se me presenta.
And it could be from something that someone says or someone has recommended to her, or even numerology, something that signals to her that she believes comes from the source, that there is a message.
Okay. Okay, guys, so do you have any questions so far? Because you remember, Mireya, I told you yesterday we are doing 20-25 minutes of talking, and then we kind of open the microphones, and if people have questions, and if not, then we will continue with my questions, you know. So guys, do you have any questions so far for Mireya? Okay, well, maybe later people will want to ask some questions. No, so now, Mireya, so within this window of 4 hours every day, what kind of, do you have any particular food choices, or you kind of eat everything that you want at that moment?
En esta ventana de las 4 horas donde comes, ¿tienes alguna preferencia o comes de todo?
Mira, cuando salgo de casa, como lo que me ofrecen. Fui 10 años vegetariana, pero recientemente empecé a comer de todo. Primero eso.
Okay, so when she's not home, she will eat what is offered to her, if she's what comes to her. And over the past 10 years, she was vegan, but now she is incorporating other foods into her diet.
En mi casa, como una vez al día y como un jugo verde hecho de apio, manzana, limón, con agua de mar. ¿Quieres decirle eso?
She eats 1 meal a day, and that is a green juice, so made with celery and apple and seawater and lemon juice.
Y después como normalmente brócoli o coliflor, a veces con huevo.
And then after that, she will eat broccoli or cauliflower and maybe eggs.
Eso.
That's it.
Very interesting, very interesting. So, and then during those 20 hours when she fasts, does she sometimes have cravings for different kinds of food, or does she sometimes just feel hunger?
En las 20 horas te dan ganas de comer, o te tienes hambre, o no ocurre eso.
Normalmente no tengo hambre. Depende un poco de mi estrés. Si estoy estresada, tengo más hambre. Y lo que hago es beber un té, tomar un té.
Normally, no, she doesn't have hunger or the need for to eat something. However, sometimes at times of anxiety, she does drink tea.
Okay. So, and then if we are talking about stress and anxiety, so I wanted to ask if she has any particular tools that help her deal with different stressful situations in life, through tools that might be useful to other people as well.
Si acaso tienes alguna herramienta que tú usas cuando fuera del té, ¿cierto? Cuando tienes ansiedad o estrés, ¿cómo eliminas eso? ¿Algún sistema?
Bueno, cuando es mucho el estrés, tengo una guitarra y toco o canto cuando es mucho estrés.
When there's a high stress period, she has a guitar and she will play the guitar or sing. That's her way of dealing with it.
Sí.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, guys, at this point, do you have any questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself and ask if you have any. If not, that's also fine, and we'll continue.
Hi, Arik. I've got a question.
Hey, Karen.
Hi there, or a couple. So my quick question is, what made her leave veganism after 10 years?
¿Quieres saber por qué dejaste de ser vegan en 10 años, después de 10 años?
En parte por Marcus y en parte por otras fuentes. Con Marcus entendí que los vegetarianos también enferman, porque yo fui vegetariana por salud y no por animalismo.
So it was in part because of what she learned from Marcus and other sources, but Marcus taught her that even vegans get sick, and so she didn't become vegan for health reasons, but not for not eating animals, but for health reasons, and she realized that it wasn't providing the health benefit.
Entonces, cuando descubrí que el veganismo o vegetarianismo no es garantía de salud, empecé hace poco a incorporar otras comidas solo para experimentar cómo se siente mi cuerpo.
So once I realized it wasn't providing necessarily the health benefits, I decided to experiment with other foods. So she'll eat other foods to see what they do for her.
Cool. And so I have a question regarding the fasting. Did she get to 20 hours and 4 hours by having to cut back slowly, or did she just decide that she was going to 20 hours and 4 hours? Does that make sense?
Yes. So, ¿quieres saber cómo cuando llegaste a las 24 horas, eso lo lograste de a poco o lo hiciste de una vez, llegaste a alcanzaste ese horario?
De a poco. Primero empecé por 16, 8, 18, 6 y llegué a las 24.
So it was gradually. So she started with 16:8 and then 18:4 or 6, and then got to 20.
Cool, thank you. And did she suffer with any negative effects like detox symptoms or anything as she was closing the window?
¿Tuviste algunos síntomas de detoxificación o algo cuando fuiste acercándote a las 20 horas?
Sí, y sigo con esos algunos síntomas en la piel, en la rinitis y un poco en el tema de ir al baño. Estoy en ello. Creo que está mi cuerpo sacando tóxicos.
And she had some skin issues and rhinitis and basically her body going through this, she believes is detox.
Okay, cool. And then one other question, if she hasn't, has she done any extended fast, like for many days or several days, whether water or dry fasting? I'm not quite sure what she does.
Si acaso has hecho ayunos más largos y si han sido con agua o secos.
Lo máximo que he hecho son 3 días de ayuno seco en grupo y no ha sido ningún drama.
And the longest has been 3 days of dry fasting, and it was a group fasting, and there were no issues with it. She had
Wow.
no
and has she done any water fasting?
¿Has hecho ayuno con agua?
Sí, he hecho 7 días de ayuno con agua.
Wow, so she's done 7 days of fasting with water.
Cool. And did she have any? Sorry, she's talking.
4 manzanas en 7 días.
So all she ate in the 7 days was 4 apples.
Wow. And did she have any negative effects with that, like detox symptoms?
¿Tuviste algún síntoma, algún problema en esos 7 días?
Sí, en medio de esos 7 días tuve una gripe muy fuerte.
So in the middle of the 7 days, she had a very strong cold.
Wow. Cool. And how long ago did she do the water fast?
¿Y cuándo fue eso?
En marzo de este año, en mi carpa, cuando estuve en la naturaleza.
So it was in March this year when she was in her retreat in nature in her tent.
Cool. Lovely. Thank you. That's it, Arik. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Thank you. You're always welcome to ask more questions if you have any. So, Mireya, I wanted to ask, we are still in the food realm or in the fasting realm. So what's your purpose for the future? Would you like to become a food vegetarian, like to completely abstain from food, or would you like to eat every now and then, or for now to keep what you are doing right now? So what's your vision regarding that?
Entonces, en el futuro, ¿quieres saber cuál es tu visión con respecto al ayuno? ¿Quieres seguir haciendo lo que estás haciendo? ¿No quieres, vas a no comer nada o algo entre medio?
No, mira, yo creo que la vida, digamos, de ayuno total no es para todos. Yo creo que no es para mí porque es muy disruptiva con mi vida social. Entonces, creo que no es para mí el ayuno total.
And so a total fasting is not for everybody. And she doesn't, it's not for her because of her social environment, her lifestyle. It's difficult.
Pero no, no quiero dejar de comer, pero quiero liberarme de la necesidad de comer.
So she doesn't want to stop eating, but she wants to free herself from the need to eat.
Y creo que la mayoría estamos llamados a eso por dos motivos. Uno, para mantener la serenidad si eventualmente hubiera una crisis alimentaria.
So there's, she believes that most people would follow this for two reasons. One is to be prepared. It's useful to be prepared if there was a food crisis. If you're free from that need to eat, you would remain calm or calmer if you had you didn't have a need.
Claro, y el segundo motivo de esto es que nos toca transmitir esta nueva programación a las futuras generaciones que vendrán neutras, en blanco, en este sentido.
And the second reason is to transmit this information, convey this information to future generations, where it will be a more neutral society without this food programming.
Okay, very interesting. Now, I wanted to ask Mireya regarding this possibility of food crisis that you mentioned. Like, first of all, do you feel yourself prepared in terms of food intake? Like, if the food crisis hits sometime, in the near future, prepared in terms of your body to go through this in the vegetarian mode?
Quiere saber si hay una crisis de comida en el futuro cercano, si tú te encuentras lista para enfrentarlo hoy en día.
Creo que sí, al menos una semana, pero ojalá que la crisis no me pille dentro de una gran ciudad.
She believes so. She believes that at least she would be okay for at least a week without food, but she's hopes that if this happens, that she's not in a big city when it happens.
And why?
¿Y por qué?
Por la influencia del miedo de toda la masa que habría a mi alrededor.
Because of the fear people would have, the people surrounding her in the city would have fear, and that would be his or concern.
Igual siento que nosotros estamos llamados a ser faros de luz en esas circunstancias. Entonces, ese es nuestro desafío.
And she believes that the calling here is one to be a beacon of light in this situation, right? So she would be helping others to see that this is not necessarily a bad thing.
Wow. That's a very interesting viewpoint. Yeah. Okay, guys, do you have any questions? Maybe related to what we have just talked about or other subjects? Okay, okay, Mireya, so we will get soon into different subjects of your book, of the book that you have published during the so-called pandemic. But before that, you mentioned before that you published something about domestic violence, and the viewpoint of it was different than like the standard viewpoint. So could you please tell us more about that?
Dice que antes de entrar al tema de tu libro que hiciste en la pandemia, si puedes expandir un poco del tema que mencionaste de violencia doméstica y esa visión que tienes tú de que está fuera del sistema.
Sí. Este es el libro que estoy divulgando ahora sobre esto.
This is the book.
El enfoque distinto es porque descubrí que los factores involucrados en las personalidades maltratadoras están asociados a la psicología y a la emocionalidad, no al género.
¿Y lo puedes repetir? Perdón.
Sí, que los factores que causan una personalidad maltratadora no están relacionados con el género, sino con disfunciones emocionales.
El género es...
El sexo.
Y
la persona, ser hombre o mujer. No tiene que ver con el machismo.
¿Y tiene que ver con qué?
Con disfunciones emocionales.
Okay. So her viewpoint differs from the mainstream in that the reason people are violent, it's not because of their sex or machismo, but it has to do with a dysfunction, emotional dysfunction.
Y además, en el mismo origen de la personalidad del maltratador y de la víctima están las claves de, a ver, los mismos motivos que nos hacen maltratador y víctima, ¿ya? Se pueden resolver de la misma manera.
So for the same reasons a person mistreats another or a person becomes a victim are both resolved the same way, by the same method.
Y tiene que ver con una sanación de nuestra culpabilidad inconsciente.
And it has to deal with curing our own self-guilt.
Eso, básicamente.
And that's it, basically.
Yeah. So, and what is her experience in terms of domestic violence? Like, has she experienced herself, or has she worked with people who experienced it and just told her about that?
¿En cuál ha sido tu experiencia? Si ha sido tu experiencia personal y también si has ayudado a otras personas.
Partió de una experiencia personal. A los 20 años tuve una relación con un hombre celoso, patológico, agresivo.
So it started with her a relationship she had in when she was 20 with a man that was pathologically jealous.
Después, cuando salí de esa relación, como 5 años después, fundé una asociación para combatir los celos en hombres y en mujeres.
And 5 years later, I opened a foundation to fight the jealousy in men and women, to help fight that.
Ahí tuve una visión más completa de este fenómeno, gracias a las personas que fuimos atendiendo.
Gracias a las personas
Que fuimos atendiendo en la asociación.
And so it's during that time that her perception opened up when through the helping others in this foundation.
Sorry. Okay, so if, for example, if one of the viewers right now, or one of the people who will watch it later, finds themselves in abusive relationship or any kind of abuse, according to her understanding, what would be the best strategy for them to actually get rid of it or change the situation?
Si alguien está viendo este video después y está siendo maltratada o maltratado, ¿qué les sugerirías a ellos para salirse de esa situación o mejorarla?
Vale. Primero, entender que atraviesan estados de normalidad y estados de crisis. El momento ideal para dejarlos es cuando ellos están en estado de normalidad, cuando son encantadores. En ese momento es cuando hay que dejar esa relación.
Okay, what she recommends is that when understand that there are periods of crisis and normal periods and good periods, and that the time to leave is a time when the other person is happy and chanting. That's the time to break away from the relationship.
Pero si no desean dejar a esa persona, tienen que conocer muy bien cómo funciona su mente para sobrevivir.
And if they don't want to leave in the relationship, there has to be more self-awareness or self-knowledge of their own person to remain in that relationship safely.
Y por último, lo primero que deben hacer, que todos debemos hacer, es sanar nuestra culpabilidad, porque la culpabilidad es lo que atrae verdugos a nuestra vida.
And the most important thing to heal is your own self-guilt, because that self-guilt persona basically attracts the type of person that is perpetrating the violence.
So how do you do that? Could you ask her?
¿Y cómo haces eso? ¿Cómo logras eso? Sanar la culpabilidad.
Sí, la culpabilidad se sana desde un encuentro con nuestro niño interior. Hay ya terapias destinadas a eso, pero es muy importante reconocer que nuestro niño o niña se ha sentido culpable por muchas cosas en la infancia que nadie supo aclarar.
Ok, al principio, repítelo al principio que tienes que...
Se hace con un encuentro con nuestro niño interior.
So this is healed by finding your inner child, and there are therapies that do this, because there are many guilts, even from childhood, that a person can carry into their adulthood, and those guilts that were never addressed properly.
Y saber que tú hoy eres el adulto que ese niño no tuvo, el adulto funcional que ese niño no tuvo, y le vas a dar las respuestas que realmente necesita.
¿Puedes repetir una vez más?
Sí, que tú hoy eres el adulto funcional, equilibrado, que tu niño necesita, y le vas a dar las respuestas que siempre esperó y nunca tuvo.
And so part of that learning is that you today, you are the balanced adult that the child never had. And you take on that role of a balanced adult that takes care of that child.
Wow, very interesting. Guys, do you have any questions at this point? Okay, and now Mireya, so I know that you have done an extensive research into different alternative lifestyles as an answer to this current crisis. Could you please translate it to her?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, I told Mireya, so I know that you have done an extensive research into different alternatives to the current lifestyle most people live.
And the question?
No, and I just want her to get the background for the next question.
Okay. Que él está entrando ahora al tema de todo lo que has hecho de juntar esta compilación de información para de información alternativa.
Okay, now I have a few questions regarding those modalities, but first I want to ask you a more general question. So in your opinion, how a person in our current times can keep their inner freedom despite all what we see around, such as information censorship, such as forced medical treatment, with different strange materials that people have to inject and other things like that. How people can keep their inner sense of freedom.
Entonces va a ser algunas preguntas generales. La primera es con respecto a cómo la gente puede mantener su libertad interna con todo lo que está pasando, con toda la censura, con todos estos materiales que nos quieren inyectar.
Bueno, como diría Marcus, no necesitando nada del sistema.
Like Marcus says, we don't need anything from the system. So fundamentally, you have to understand that.
So could you extend on that?
¿Puedes expandir en eso?
Sí,
¿Dar ejemplos?
claro. En primer lugar, tratar de depender lo menos posible del sistema, ¿ya? Es decir, que no puedan usar como canje de nuestra libertad cosas de las que podemos prescindir.
So first, you remove dependencies, become less dependent on the system, and find areas where instead of trading something for freedom, right? You stop trading things that are non-essential, that you don't need, that you can do without.
Por ejemplo, no necesitas viajar por placer, no necesitas ir a un restaurante o no necesitas ir al cine.
So for example, you don't need to travel for leisure. You don't need to go to restaurants. You don't need to go to the movies. You can do without.
Y si después te quieren presionar por cosas que sí que necesitas, como por ejemplo tu trabajo, debes ser consciente de que ellos están usando tu ignorancia de las leyes para imponerte esa supuesta obligación que en realidad no lo es.
And so when they try to strong arm you on things you really need, for example, your job, they are taking advantage of the fact that people are ignorant about the law.
Claro, entonces debes conocer tus derechos constitucionales para proteger tu libertad. Y si eso no fuera suficiente, debes conocer la ley natural.
And so you need to be aware of your constitutional rights to combat that when they're trying to take away that freedom. And if that's not enough, if those rights don't cover what they're trying to take away, then you have to also understand natural law.
So that's basically what's going to be my next question about natural law. But before that, I just want to relate to what she said. So what is the purpose of, she mentioned stopping going to movies or not visiting restaurants, etc. Now, what is the purpose of it? Is it to get used to being more self-sufficient, or is it some other purpose? Just if she can clarify.
Entonces, cuando, por ejemplo, mencionaste dejar de ir al cine o al restaurante, ¿cuál es el propósito de no ser, de ser más autosuficiente o otra cosa?
No, lo ponía como ejemplo cuando en pandemia nos exigían inocularnos para poder disfrutar de esas cosas. A mí me gusta disfrutarlas mientras no las condicionen con ese tipo de presiones.
And so, no, she mentioned that because this, based on COVID, that they would make you get vaccinated before you could go into a restaurant or the theater. And so by not going there and doing away with that, you don't you don't comply with that vaccine they're trying to obligate you to take.
Yeah, no, but I meant, for example, now, because now we are not obliged to get vaccinated in order to go to places. So, but do we still have to kind of restrict ourselves from doing that just to become more self-sufficient internally, to cooperate less with the system, or today it's not necessary, or today we can't do those things? And so what's her opinion on that?
Pero piensa él si hoy en día que no existe esa condición, lo tienes que dejar de hacer también para no estar en el sistema o para ser más autosuficiente, o se puede seguir haciendo.
No, yo creo que se puede seguir haciendo. Forma parte de nuestra libertad de jugar en este juego. Entonces podemos experimentarlo todo sin depender de ello.
So no, it's okay to do it now, and it's what it is. It's a way to play in their game and play in this. You are experimenting with different things, and there's no need to stop it.
Mhm.
But like the food, I think it's good that you know that you can stop it if you want to.
That you can stop it, yeah. So you have to know that you can stop it. Okay. Now we had some question in the chat. Someone says, I would like to know what she has learned from Marcus. But basically, I think that what we're talking about, right, Mireya, is that basically that's what you have learned from him, unless you have something else. The question is, what have you learned from Marcus Witte? So do you have anything to add to what you have said so far?
Entonces la pregunta en el chat dicen que querían saber más de qué has aprendido de Marcus. Y esto fue una de ellas, pero ¿hay alguna otra cosa de que no nos has compartido?
Sí, aprendí que la enfermedad es el esfuerzo del cuerpo para desintoxicarse.
So one thing that she's learned is that the illness is the body detoxing itself. It's a result of the body healing and detoxing itself.
Mhm.
O que hacer muchas prácticas espirituales es cosa del ego para distraerme.
And that spiritual practices are creations from ego to distract you.
O que no puedo buscar en otro el amor que no me doy a mí misma.
And that you don't look for, dímelo de nuevo.
Que no puedo buscar en otro el amor que no me doy a mí misma.
That you can't search for love from others that you don't give to yourself. So you have to love yourself.
Eso entre muchas otras cosas.
Among many other things.
Interesting. So guys, before we move on, do you have any more questions?
Por ejemplo, también aprendí que nuestra realidad física ha sido creada por una inteligencia artificial futura que nos necesita dependientes de ella.
Como repite al principio, que
nuestra realidad física la creó una inteligencia artificial futura para que dependamos de ella.
Another thing she learned from Marcus is that our reality was created by an artificial intelligence from the future because they will need us.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. And Mireya, so when you're saying the different spiritual practices are an obstacle, what exactly do you mean by that? If the translation was correct, right? Maurice, you translated that she said that spiritual practices are kind of distraction. So what exactly she meant by that?
Lo que dices tú de las prácticas espirituales que son una distracción, ¿lo puedes aclarar o expandir un poco?
Sí, me refiero a, como dice Marcus, aquellas prácticas que nunca haría tu niño interior.
These are things, these practices are things our inner child would never do.
Y aquellas prácticas que no te dejan escuchar lo que tu propio ser te quiere decir.
And these practices limit you from listening to your own self and your own self-discovery.
Very interesting. Now, Mireya, there was also a request to repeat what you have just said about, you know, life being created by future beings or something like that. Someone is asking you to repeat this idea.
Sí.
Dime.
Lo vi en el chat. Entiendo que no se comprendió lo de la inteligencia artificial. Es una afirmación de Marcus, ¿ya? Pero yo lo entendí también que nuestra realidad material fue creada por una inteligencia artificial futura que nos necesita para subsistir. En el libro está mejor explicado.
So it's in it's going to be in his book, right? The book that Marcus is currently drafting, that he believes there's our reality, our material reality was created by a future AI, basically our artificial intelligence, porque nos van a necesitar o
que a su vez nos necesita para subsistir, entonces nos vuelve dependientes de ella, del sistema, de la Matrix.
And we've become dependent of that reality, that fabricated reality.
Interesting. So very interesting. Now, Mireya, so you mentioned that in order for a person to stay free internally, you mentioned natural law, and you also mentioned it when we talked yesterday, preparing for this interview. So what is it exactly and how it works?
Entonces, háblanos de la ley natural, ¿en qué consiste?
Es complejo, pero básicamente, como yo lo entiendo, es la ley que nos protege o protege nuestra soberanía como habitantes por derecho de este planeta.
So natural law protects us in our sovereign rights that we have as habitants of the planet.
Y eso está por encima de cualquier otra ley positiva que traten de imponernos, que son artificiales.
And that's above any other law, any positive law being imposed on us.
Por lo tanto, también depende de conocer o no conocer la ley natural que abusen más de nosotros.
And that's why it's important to understand the natural law so that there are no abuses and laws that are negative.
Porque la ley positiva trata de engañarnos haciendo un uso retorcido del lenguaje.
¿Cuál es la ley positiva?
La ley positiva, la ley del sistema, trata de engañarnos haciendo un uso fraudulento del lenguaje.
So the laws made by people are these positive laws trick people by wording, by using confusing words, and are designed to confuse people.
Okay, So, for example, on the first of all, we got few questions in the chat, guys. So I saw it, and I can read it, or you can just later on unmute yourself and ask, which is the best, because then you can clarify your question. But I can also read them, no problem. Now, but so Mireya, so for example, in the practical terms, if I feel now that my rights have been usurped, like taken either by censorship or by forced kind of treatment or whatever, like how can I apply natural law, the knowledge of natural law, to gain my freedom back, let's say?
Y pregunta él si él ha perdido la libertad con estas leyes o, por ejemplo, con restricciones arbitrarias. ¿Cómo aplicas la ley natural para liberarte?
Primero, no te identifiques con el personaje, la personalidad jurídica que ellos manipulan como un producto de su corporación. No te identifiques con ese.
¿Puedes no creer en eso o no identificarse uno?
No reconocerte como ese personaje, esa personalidad jurídica. Decir, yo no soy eso.
One is to not recognize that legal person they have created for you. Does that make sense?
Claro, no te reconozcas con tus nombres inscritos en el registro civil ni con el número de tu DNI. Tú no eres eso y no respondes a eso.
So you decouple yourself from your name, your social security number, everything they've assigned to you. You don't disassociate with that.
Okay, and where is she now in this process of disassociation?
¿Dónde estás tú ahora en este proceso de no reconocer eso?
Afortunadamente no he tenido que utilizar estas herramientas porque soy casi independiente.
So fortunately, she hasn't had to use these tools and do this to that extent because she's almost free, completely free in her independence.
Okay. Okay, guys. So Vanessa, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question, or I will just read it here?
Yes, I can do it, Arik. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to ask her what are the best improvements she has seen since she learned that we don't need food, and also she started fasting herself. What is the most positive thing that she's noticed in herself?
¿Cuál es tu cambio que el más positivo que has visto en ti desde que aprendiste que no necesitas comer y que has empezado a hacer ayunas?
Me da mucha libertad, me da mucho tiempo y me quita muchos miedos. Tengo mucho más tiempo para mí, para hacer muchas cosas y no estoy preocupada por ese tema de la comida.
¿Y cuál es la libertad?
La libertad de poder moverme a cualquier lado por tiempo indefinido sin preocuparme tanto de la comida.
So the key thing is that she's gained the freedom and time because she doesn't have to worry about food or where the food will come from. So she can travel. She can. She feels more freedom.
Okay. And also she has it's a South American culture. I guess you are very much surrounded with family and people all the time. So was it difficult for her to step a little bit outside and go a little bit off the norm? That is, I guess it's huge meals and you gather the family and stuff like that. Was it difficult for her? And then she speaks about going in nature alone. How easy is it to do it in that kind of culture, for example?
Ella quiere saber específicamente con respecto a la cultura en Chile y qué tan difícil te fue alejarte de eso, de comer con gente, bueno, en tu caso, comer con familia y de irte, por ejemplo, a acampar sola. ¿Cómo lograste eso?
Bueno, Vanessa quizá no sabe que yo no soy de Chile. Mi familia vive en España. Yo soy soltera y no tengo hijos. Vivo sola. No tengo que dar explicaciones a nadie. Pero cuando me invitan fuera de casa a comer, como y lo disfruto como un juego.
So she is in Chile. She is originally from Spain. So in Chile, she doesn't have family, she doesn't have children, and she's single. So she doesn't have the ties to have of eating in a big family and at the table and fasting, trying to fast in that context. So she has that freedom to go, and then and she does eat when she's invited. She goes out and someone invites her. She will enjoy eating, but it's like playing in a game. So she's playing a game of eating, not because she has to.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, Mireya, because I live in Norway right now, but I'm from Portugal. So when I visit my family in Portugal, I also eat with them. But the thing is, it's very difficult for me to get back to my regular normal diet that is more raw fruits and veg. So for me, it's difficult for me to switch this way. Do you have any, maybe you have mastered it in another way, but any tips or what to do?
Ella dice que ella viaja a ver a su familia en Portugal y tiene que comer mucho y se le desarma su dieta cuando regresa, le cuesta mucho. Que si tienes alguna recomendación para ella.
Sí, a mí también me cuesta regresar al orden, pero observo que depende sobre todo de dos cosas, de la adicción y de el apego emocional, el recuerdo que nos da la comida de nuestra relación familiar. Entonces se trata de trabajar la adicción con formas de limpieza del cuerpo y el apego familiar con trabajo mental.
So she also has that struggle, and she says there's two keys to understanding that food dependency and breaking off of it. The one is the addiction part of it, which is resolved basically with detox of the body. And then the second one is yet emotionally that tie of the food with and family. That's it's an issue of the mind basically that you can overcome.
Okay, thank you. I have just one more question, if I may. You talk about being independent and that we, in a way, can get a little bit more free from the system. What about if you own your own property? You have pay for it, but you own it and you have to fill the papers and and do all the stuff that is required by the authorities. Is there any chance that you can lose your property if you don't follow these rules or the stuff that these people are trying to impose on you? Because it's very difficult for me. If I want something, I have it on the papers that is mine, then I use my name. How can I later on say that I will not use the name that I was given and all my numbers and stuff like that? Will I lose the stuff that I have if I don't use that name?
Ella quiere saber, por ejemplo, con respecto a no usar, no relacionarte con la persona jurídica, ¿cierto? Con tu nombre y en el sistema. Y si eres dueño de un terreno o de una casa, si acaso la vas a perder al no usar tu nombre, eso está en los papeles, la casa ya está tu nombre. ¿Cómo funciona eso?
Yo respondía a la pregunta de Arik que decía, en caso de que abusen de ti, ¿qué hacer? En ese caso, uno suelta la personalidad jurídica, pero mientras no haya conflicto, uno puede jugar a los dos juegos, jugar al juego del sistema y jugar a la independencia, mientras no haya conflicto.
O sea, coexisten los dos. No son
Sí.
exclusivos.
Sí.
So, unless there's a conflict, or for example, what we touched on earlier, if you're being abused and you need to change your name, you need to be out of the system. Unless there's a conflict, you can be in the system. There's nothing wrong with it, but you have that duality. You play this game, and you're in the system when you need to, and you have your freedom, and understand you have these freedoms when there is a conflict. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alba, would you like to unmute yourself and ask, or I can just read your question?
Sure, I can ask it.
Great.
Where did it go?
We can hear you very well.
Okay, so I was wondering if she believes that we're divine beings having a human experience. The AI thing just threw me a little bit, and I guess that's why I'm asking. And then is she also sharing with us that we've become really distracted from our natural nature by, addiction to our senses, if you will, memories, and then just this, if I'm understanding her right, this reality that she's saying is an illusion. And if I've misunderstood, I'm just going to apologize up front.
Okay, ella quiere saber, ella cree que somos seres divinos que estamos teniendo una experiencia humana. Y si ella quiere entender que nos hemos distraído de la realidad con lo que ha creado la inteligencia artificial en lo que vemos o lo que probamos, lo que tocamos, ¿puedes aclarar eso un poco cuando a lo que te refieres con esa realidad?
Sí, somos seres divinos viviendo una experiencia humana. Sí, podría decirse que hay dos creadores en esta experiencia, pero nosotros también participamos de la creación. Lo importante es ser conscientes de que es una creación artificial y que nosotros estamos por encima de todo lo material. Por tanto, nada se nos puede imponer.
So yes, she does agree that we are divine beings and we are having a human experience, but we are above matter, and so that we Repíteme lo último.
Que nosotros estamos por encima de la creación artificial. Por lo tanto, nada se nos puede imponer desde lo material.
So we are above this artificial creation, and they can't, that creation can't impose on us, on our being.
Okay. Okay. So an overarching theme I feel I'm sensing from her interview today is to return to that true nature, right? And lose the distractions and attachments to a system that doesn't support all. Would that be accurate?
Entonces ella dice, como sumarizando lo que, de todas las cosas que has dicho hoy día en este evento, que no, estas distracciones nos tenemos que desprender de eso y volver a la naturaleza y desprendernos de estas distracciones del sistema, ¿correcto?
Siempre que supongan un conflicto, siempre que no podamos tomarlas como un juego, siempre que nos hagan daño. Entonces nos tenemos que alejar, pero si aprendemos a jugar con esa realidad, podemos estar en cualquier sitio.
So she reiterates that if there's a conflict, if things are those constraints, we have to break away from. But otherwise, you can stay in that system and play as long as you understand that that's an artificial constraint.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so we are moving towards the closure of this interview. So first of all, I want to ask if anyone has any more questions.
I have one last one for her that's a little bit
Sure.
different, but similar to the young lady before. How did she, what steps did she take, or how did she change her relationship with food so that now she's free from it? Like she can eat if she wants to or not if she doesn't.
How did she break up on that first relationship?
No, how did she change her relationship with food so that she is now free to eat if she chooses and free to not eat if she chooses? What were her steps, if anything?
¿Cómo lograste desprenderte de la comida, de comer lo que tú quieras o no comer? ¿Cómo lograste desprenderte de esa adicción?
Para mí ha sido muy fácil en relación a otros. Desde que vivo sola en Chile hace 10 años, aunque he tenido relaciones y ahí me he salido, pero mientras vivo sola es fácil, porque además no me gusta cocinar. Entonces trato de quitarme las tentaciones y desprogramarme, y mi cuerpo se va acostumbrando progresivamente. Es fácil, como dice Marcos.
For her, it was easy because she lives by herself, and so she didn't, and she doesn't like to cook, so she didn't have too much trouble getting used to that and not having, getting away from that need to have food versus eating when she wants to eat.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, anyone else? Okay, Mireya, so tell us please about your project. You said that when there was censorship, then your response to that was to publish those volumes where you gathered like prominent thinkers and people who kind of live alternative lifestyles, people who were censored. So could you tell us more about this project, what kind of content those volumes contain, and whatever you want to tell about it?
Entonces, Mireya, con el libro, ¿nos puedes hablar un poco del contenido y cómo lograr, después de juntar a toda esta gente, qué hay ahí?
Ya, este libro, ambos libros, los conseguí hacer porque invité a muchos divulgadores e investigadores independientes. Aproximadamente invité a 50 para cada libro y me respondieron en ambos casos, 21 me respondieron que sí.
And so what she did is she reached out to many investigators and independent thinkers, and she invited more than 50 people in each book to come and join that publication. And for each one, 21 people responded yes.
Claro, ellos me enviaron los artículos que deseaban publicar en los libros. Yo me dediqué a corregirlos y homologar un poco el estilo de lenguaje, de narración, para que quedaran libros coherentes y comprensibles a la lectura.
And so the authors would send her the articles they wanted published, and she would basically edit these articles so for errors, and also so that the narrative in the book was in the same style. So she just made those edits, but the content came from the individual articles.
Okay, so could you please mention a few subjects that those volumes deal with?
¿Nos puedes hablar de algunos de los capítulos, de cuáles son los capítulos del libro?
Sí, aunque me encantaría que pusieras que Arik pusiera el video que le envié, porque ahí es un resumen de todo y está en inglés, si quiere.
She's asking if you could play that video, because that would cover some of those, and it would be in English.
Yes, yes.
Now would be a good time to play that.
Yes. So we'll play a short video presenting those volumes, and we'll talk a little bit later after that, and we will close it. So just a moment. Just a moment, I will just share the sound. Okay. Okay, so Mireya, so what can you add to that?
Mireya, ¿qué puedes agregar con eso? A eso, al video.
Bueno, pues que creo que agregar que son contenidos que no tienen literatura hoy en día escrita en papel, todos juntos. Son contenidos muy actuales.
Pero aquí dijiste al principio son contenidos que no están.
Que no tienen literatura escrita apenas y menos en un solo libro.
So the information in the book is unpublished by large. Individual, even individually, they're not on paper, and so yet alone in all in one book. So that's the why she's put this together.
Y que sirve como herramienta para quien quiera introducirse en estas prácticas y estas temáticas para tener una pauta por donde empezar.
So it's a good tool for a beginner to understand and have understand these practices and get a good overview of these different ideas.
Okay. Okay, and for now it's just in Spanish, right?
Y por ahora solo está en español, sí.
All right, sí. Estamos llamando a la acción para que participen en la traducción quienes se sientan llamados a ello.
So we're calling for people to help with translating the book if they feel that that's their call.
Yeah. Okay, so you can just tell her that we are going to put all the contact details below the video. So if people want to help and help in translation or other means, then they will be able to contact her. You can just tell her.
Y esa información la va a poner ahí en el video y tu nombre y cómo contactarte y ahí ellos van a escribirte.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we will also put the link for purchase the book, even though right now it's Spanish, but probably some people are Spanish speakers here, so they will be able to access it and to purchase. Now, I also wanted to ask, so is it available like in the paper form or PDF form? Like how does it work?
Y si acaso está en electrónico, en PDF, ¿cómo funciona eso?
Sí, está en PDF y lo enviamos a todo el mundo solo por un aporte voluntario que se hace por PayPal.
¿Por qué?
PayPal.
Oh, perdón. Sí, so there is a PDF and that is on a voluntary contribution basis. So any contribution you can send and you can get the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Pero también está en papel y lo pueden comprar en casi todo el mundo en papel a través de buscalibre.com.
And it's also in paper form.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy it on buscalibre.com.
Okay, okay. And Mireya, so when you mentioned that you have your own publishing house, or at least that's what I heard. So is it really like your own or just a publishing house with which you have like close connection?
Mencionaste antes que tienes tu propia publicación, ¿cierto? ¿Como tú imprimes o tú tienes una asociación con el que imprime el papel? ¿O cómo?
Tengo una asociación con una imprenta. Ellos imprimen.
So she has a relationship with a printer.
Okay.
So they do the physical printing, but she does the publishing.
Yeah, so once this book is translated, there will be no problem to publish it and to distribute it, right?
Entonces, cuando ya esté en inglés, no hay ningún problema en imprimirlo y venderlo, ¿cierto?
Lo que contemplo cuando esté traducido es subirlo a plataformas de impresión bajo demanda, como Amazon, book, etc.
So once it's printed, translated and printed, she's going to upload it to on-demand type outlets like Amazon for distribution.
Very good, very good. And I just want to mention that one of the articles that are in the book, the extensive article, is written by Marcus, right? So you can, I just want to verify that.
Que uno quiere confirmar que sí, uno de los capítulos fue escrito por Marcus.
Sí, el capítulo más largo de todos fue escrito por Marcus. Fue fruto de una entrevista que le hicieron en Colombia y él me pasó el transcripto, la transcripción de esa entrevista para que yo seleccionara parte de ella para el libro.
So the longest chapter in the book is based on an interview that was made in Colombia with Marcus about his draft, and the entire interview, the text of that interview was presented to her, and she had to pick from there what she wanted in the book.
Excellent. So let's say if someone wants to help with translation and they're interested in a particular subject, for example, in Marcus or in some other subjects of the book, they can just take this particular part and translate it, right?
Pregunta si alguien está interesado en traducir, está interesado en un capítulo en particular, ellos pueden tomar ese capítulo y traducirlo, ¿cierto?
Sí, sí, creo que es una buena idea traducirlo por capítulos y distribuirlo por capítulos a las personas que estén interesadas en cada uno de los temas.
And that's a good idea. She thinks that she can send those particular chapters out to a person if they can contribute with just that one chapter.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, guys, so you have your last question, last chance now to ask Mireya questions, if you have any. If not, then we are going to wrap it up.
Just one last question, Arik. Does she know of any community in that area of people looking more towards vegetarianism or just being raw foodists? Does she know of something like that?
In Chile?
Yeah, in Chile or South America or wherever she knows.
Si acaso conoces alguna comunidad que se enfoquen en vegetarianismo o comida cruda.
No, no conozco. No conozco ninguna comunidad que se enfoque en eso.
No, she does not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. So thank you very much for participating. Thank you very much, Mireya. Thank you for
Thank you very much to you.
Yeah, for sharing your wisdom. Was really, really interesting, thought-provoking, you know, like Maurice, you can tell her that it was really interesting, thought-provoking, and yeah, and just we really, really want to thank her for sharing her wisdom with all of us. So you can just translate.
Que muchas gracias, que estuvo muy interesante y te pone a pensar todo lo que dijiste y te lo agradece mucho.
Muchas gracias por la oportunidad y muchas gracias, Maurice, por la estupenda traducción.
And thanks for the opportunity, and thanks to Maurice for the interpretation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Maurice. It was wonderful. And thank you guys for coming. So have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gracias a todos por
Bye-bye.
estar. Chao.
Bye.